world you are watching from. My name is Lauren Stone and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my husband Jason and I are in the process of converting our 2019 Ram ProMaster for full-time living on the road for us and our two dogs who are finally sleeping next to me. They've been pretty rambunctious all morning trying to film this. Well, I was hoping for the van to be finished by the end of March for us to be out on the road. As you can see, it is the end of March that I am sharing this video, so that obviously has not happened yet. So we've pushed our date to sometime at the end of May. This is for a couple of reasons. One, every single project that we're like, oh, we're gonna finish it in a day, in a weekend, it ends up taking 3, 4, 5 times as long. So that pushed us back a little bit, but as well as one other piece of the puzzle, which is really what I want this video to be about today. I feel like I tried to find videos on this and I didn't really find what I was looking for. So I'm hoping that this video will be helpful for anybody who's thinking about transitioning into van life or wants to convert a van, or I don't know, maybe you just want to learn more about me and Jason. I don't know, whatever. I'm glad you're here. And again, if you're new here, please subscribe, stick around. We have a lot more coming up. But back to what this video is about. This video is going to be all about what we are doing behind the scenes to prepare to move into our van. There's a lot more that goes into this than just the actual building, getting the supplies, measuring, all of that. There's like a billion other things that we're doing behind the scenes. And that's why I didn't post a video last week, is because this last week I have been super busy preparing this house to be put on the market. So I want this video again to be all about what we're doing to transition into van life. I'm not gonna waste any time. I'm gonna jump right in. So the very first thing I wanna talk about is, I think, what a lot of people have questions about, which is finances. Before we planned out our van build, before we even got a van or started looking at vans, we had to have this whole conversation about like, what could we afford? And that's kind of a whole video, I think, in itself that I'll do separately about choosing between, say, an RV, a Class B, building out a van, buying one already converted. But we had to really sit down and look at our budget, have a spreadsheet for our budget for our family, and I keep track of all of our expenses. So what we did is we took a look at that to see what could we realistically afford and how much money could we set aside to help build this van. We've probably spent somewhere around almost $8,000, I want to say, maybe between $7,000 and $8,000 on this van build so far. We did not have that money saved up. Okay, that's money that we had to find ways to cut back on the things that we were spending, so that way we could every month allocate each of us a certain amount of money to put towards building out this van, which again is another reason why it took us longer, because we didn't have that money right out the gate. So a lot of that extra money that we have put towards the van was money that we were originally spending on like going out to eat, going to breweries, going to shows, taking vacations. We really prioritized travel in the first 2 years of our marriage. Also, Jason and I are like, we're kind of minimalists. Probably me more so than Jason. Like, this house and the stuff that we have in this house, while it's not a lot, it's more than probably I've ever had in my life. But we don't buy new clothes. If we go and buy stuff, like these are $4 Goodwill pants because I needed new pants. Jason sometimes will buy some more of like the latest gadgets and stuff. We don't have like fancy watches, and I don't wear fancy jewelry, and I don't get my hair done maybe once every year or a year and a half or something like that. The last time I got my nails done was prom in 2008. So like there's things that like maybe other people do that I just don't personally do. So that money I've always just put towards other things. So again, finances, looked at our budget, where could we cut back, continued our minimalistic lifestyle. And then also financially, we looked at what we could sell. We knew at some point down the road, we were going to be selling everything. So why not get started now? So there was like a lot of stuff that we had that was like, it was more nice to have furniture pieces and things like that. So we sold a bunch of stuff, which gave us some extra money, extra cushion to start the build out, which was really helpful. And then along with the finance part is, I only recommend this if you are good with money, okay? I've always been very diligent when it comes to money. So I pay everything with my credit card. And then the next day, whatever the balance is on my credit card, card, I just pay it off. And I keep doing that, and it helps me build rewards points. And I use that cash back to be able to pay things off that are like bigger ticket items. So for example, I have probably about $185 worth of rewards credits just from simply using my credit card. And I'm saving that for when we have the next big ticket item that I need to spend. So then I pay it with my credit card, I use those points to pay it off, and I basically just get it for free. We also have a couple different like health insurance incentives, like through the app that they have, where it's like certain amount of steps in a day gets a quarter and it adds up. And over time, we have $75, $125 that we can get as a digital gift card. Things at work, they have what's called bonusly points. And once you get enough bonusly points, you can use those to get a gift card, or you can do a PayPal transaction. So just little things that we basically have been utilizing those to help us pay for the build in our van. So we got number one is taking care of our finances. Number two is the big one, is the biggest one. And it is this freaking house. I love this house, and I'm so grateful for this house. This house has like been the vessel for everything that we have needed in this season in our life. I love this house. If I could just take this house and lift it and put it where we end up wanting to be in the future, I would, because this house is so cute and cozy and we really made it our own. But we can't do that, so we need to sell the house. Now, when Jason was living in Ohio, before he moved down to Florida to come be with me, I know, he's so sweet, he actually sold his house on his own without a realtor. So we thought, what the heck, let's give it a try ourselves. And then that way we can save money by not paying the commission, and anything we get extra, we get to pocket and keep for ourselves. So this past week, I have been going to town preparing this house. I've been decluttering. I've been putting things aside that we're going to put in a yard sale, things that we're going to donate. I've been taking pictures off the wall to depersonalize. I have been fixing holes and painting doors. It's just been like non-stop this week of just everything that we've needed to do. Once I got the house all cleaned and prepped and decluttered and depersonalized, I did some research on different flat fee MLS listings. Basically, that allows you to list your house on the MLS. So Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, and it goes into the system that all the realtors will be able to see. And you do that for a flat fee. I think we paid about $200 for it. We took pictures of the house, edited them, and then submitted through this MLS flat fee site. And the people that we worked with have been absolutely amazing, super, super helpful through the whole process. And as of last night, our listing went live. So we've already scheduled some open houses that are going to be happening here soon. It's been a lot, but it's been good. So thankfully Jason has done this before. So like I'm not as like scared about it. He did it. It worked out great. So I think we can do it a second time around. So number one, finances. Number two, the house. Number three is the dogs. Okay, I love our dogs. Miles and Potato are the cutest thing in the world, but they have acclimated to this suburb life a little too hard. This window here, they bark at everything. Every dog that passes by, every person that passes by. When we get a package delivered, they're barking, they pull on the leash. In all fairness, it's not their fault. I think that Jason and I have been just so wrapped up in everything else in life that we've kind of really slacked on their training. So number three is their dog training. We've tried a couple different trainers, didn't really love them, but I finally found this one on TikTok. I stumbled across one of his videos and he has been an absolute dream to work with. He's been super great. So we're working on that with them because when we go out on the road, we don't want them to be reactive. We want them to be safe. We want them to have a full life. And I want to be just like a really good dog owner that can give them that life and just have a really good relationship with them. So we have been working very, very hard over the last several months on their training. So hopefully it pays off. So number four would be preparing everything that we need to live out on the road. That's not just van build materials. So what we have is we have this list that we are slowly chipping away at that has all of the different things that we are going to specifically need for our van. So for example, like there's some safety equipment that we need. Like we need these tracks in case we get stuck in the sand or the mud or anything like that, that will help us to be able to get out. We needed to get leveling blocks so that way our van stays leveled. We need the right kind of jack in case our van gets a flat tire and we need to change the tire. A normal jack isn't going to be able to lift it because of its weight. So there's just a lot of things that you don't necessarily think about, at least in the beginning, because you're so focused on the build itself. So we have this list. Again, we've just been slowly buying things little by little. That way, once the build is done and we're ready to go out on the road, like we're not going to have to buy all of this stuff at once and drop a ton of cash all at once. It's like we have a tote that we've been saving all of these things as we buy maybe one item a week. So the other list that we have going is aside from just the van supply list, is the list of things that we need to do before we get on the road, which is going to be things like dentist appointments, annual physicals, OBGYN, getting new contacts, getting a new glasses prescription, Miles and Potatoes vet appointments. We have our insurance here. We're very familiar with our doctors and the vet and everything here. So might as well just get all of that out of the way so it's not anything that we're even going to have to think about for the first couple months. And that way we just have peace of mind. And something new that we are sorting out is number 5. Are we on 5? I think we're 5, is changing our address. This one's a little complicated for us. So we don't know how long we're planning to be on the road for. If we knew okay, well, we're only going to be on the road for 3 months and then we're going to find the place that we want to build a house and all of that, sure. We could just forward our mail to, one of our parents' houses and then sort it out from there. Not worry about having to change the address and get the van registered and the insurance and all of that. But we don't really know how long we're going to be on the road for. So we're trying to figure out the best course of action for this. There's something called a domicile address, which I think is what it's called. And usually those places are Florida or Texas or South Dakota. And these are all places that don't have income tax and just make it a lot easier to be able to do this kind of lifestyle without having to jump through a whole lot of hoops. My mom lives down in Florida, so we're considering maybe using her address. So we're kind of still sorting out those details and what we plan on doing for that. But yeah, it's just really important to figure out because, again, your address is pretty much everything. It's how you can vote. It's how you're going to have your car registered. It's how you're going to get your car insured. All of these things. TBD on what we plan on doing. One of the last things, and I guess that will be number 6, is deciding whether or not we are going to be getting a storage unit. At the moment, the plan is yes. I'm really hoping we can avoid getting a storage unit. There are things that we can't replace. Family heirlooms, memorabilia, photos, things like that we cannot replace. And I don't want to get rid of. Neither one of us want to get rid of. So we're kind of paring things down to just be in a few small totes if possible and get just the smallest, cheapest storage unit that we can get, or hopefully, crossing fingers, maybe we can leave those in somebody's home and we can get them later so we can avoid getting a storage unit. That would be ideal, but it's something that we do need to consider. It will be another monthly expense. Again, back to the budget, we talked about what our monthly expenses are going to be, even when we're on the road, or at least what we project them to be. So that's something that we're kind of toying with. I've seen them as cheap as $20 a month for the smallest, upwards of $135. And that difference is because do we want just a really standard, basic, maybe climate controlled storage unit? Or the other option is we get something like a cube or a pod, which basically means you can store your items and it's movable. So if we decide that, hey, we love it in Wisconsin, we're just going to stay here. Instead of driving all the way back to wherever our storage unit is, coming and getting all the stuff, they basically just take that pod and then they bring it to you for whatever that fee is. That's also an option that we're going to look into. It's hard to tell because, again, we don't know how long we're going to be on the road for. So I think that's about it. I mean, sure, I guess there's like a bunch of little things that we've been doing too. Like we've been saving all of our coffee grounds for our composting toilet. We got new tires for the van and are making sure we're getting regular oil changes. So there's little bits, but those 6 things I think are the biggest ones that we have been doing in the background while simultaneously working our full-time jobs, while simultaneously building the van, while simultaneously making these videos, while simultaneously Jason is also doing coaching on the side and doing his own YouTube channel on the side. So it's a lot. We don't have much of a life outside of all of this. I'm okay with it, honestly. Truly, I am okay with it because I know that this part is just a season. This is just a season in our life, and we are working our tails off to be able to achieve something that both of us really want. And it's always been a dream of mine to be able to do something like this for the long term. I lived out of my car at one point for, I don't know, maybe 4 months, I think, around the United States. But like I've wanted to do something with a van or with a trailer or something like this for a really long time. So I'm okay with putting in the work now so it pays off in the long run. But anyways, I hope that this has been helpful. I hope it gives you some context of things to consider, whether you live in an apartment or you have a house or you need to sublease or you need to get a storage unit or what finances look like. All of those pieces that come together to be able to basically allow you to do van life, I guess. So thank you so much for sticking around. Again, if you're new here, please subscribe. It would mean the world to me. We have reached 1,000 subscribers, and that is so cool. That is so cool. I'm just over the moon grateful for each and every one of you. So thank you so much. Stay tuned because crossing fingers that the next video will be about our plumbing, and then it'll just be all the tiny little fine details. So stick around. Thank you so much, and until next time.